Hello everyone and welcome. In this lecture we'll see how we can create dummy variables. So I'll go to this Wikipedia link to show you what dummy variables are. So a dummy variable is also known as an indicator variable, and it takes the value of 0 or 1 to indicate the absence or presence of some categorical effect that may be expected to shift the outcome. We'll be using dummy variables in data science and statistics. We'll see an example of dummy variables in later lectures. In this lecture, we'll see how we can create dummy variables. Great. As always, we start by importing Pandas as PD, and we import NumPy as NP. From Pandas, import series and data frames. What we'll do next is read a CSV file using Pandas. Let's do that. So pd.read CSV, and then we pass our CSV file. So kaggletrain.csv. I got this CSV file from the Kaggle Train challenge, from the Kaggle Titanic challenge, and I saved it where my Jupyter Notebook homepage is located. Okay, so I simply passed the CSV file name. If you save it somewhere else, you'll have to specify the directory. And I'll save this data in a variable called, let's say, train data. Now let's see what this train data looks like. So train data dot head. So this is what it looks like. Passenger ID, survived, passenger class, name. It's data regarding the Titanic challenge. So this were all the passengers in Titanic, and then this is the survival column. 0 means did not survive, 1 means they survived, passenger class, name of the passenger, sex, age, if they had any siblings in the train, and so on. So for this dummy variable, we'll create another column, and we'll name it, let's say, a sex male column. Let's do that. So we have our train data dataset, and we'll be creating a dummy variable. Let's name the column sex male variable, and we'll set that to be equal to our train data that here we have a sex column, right? Male or female. What we will do is we'll use the map function to map the sex, and we'll take male, and then we'll set male as 1, and for female we'll set that as 0. That will be our new dummy variable values. So the new column name will be sex male variable, and then for male it will show as 1, for female it will show as 0. So we're going to map it using the sex column. So train data dot sex, and then we'll map it. So we pass a dictionary key and value. What do we want? For female, we'll set it as 0. And for male, we'll set 1. Now let's see what our train data looks like. Train data.head. Run it. So here we have a new column, right? This is our dummy variable. Sex male variable. When it's male, 1, female, value is 0. So it could have the value of either 1 or 0. That's a dummy variable. There's another method to create dummy variables, and it's called the getDummies method. So next I'll show you how we can create dummy variables by using getDummies method. And that will create a column for each of the possible values. Let's do that. So pd.getDummies, and then we pass our train data dot sex. So we want to create a dummy variable of sex. Let's save this in a variable called dummy data, and let's see what it looks like. So if I call dummy data dot head, I get the two options, female and male. So if I go back, I have male, female, 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 male. So the first and fifth one are male. So I have the value 1. Whereas for the second, third, and fourth rows, since it's a female, we have 1 for female and 0 for male. That's how we can use getDummies method to create a column for each of the possible values for the sex column. And if we have n number of values for some categorical feature, we need n-1 variables, right? n-1 dummy variables to capture what we need. And usually what you see in data science is that once you create dummy variables like this, female and male, we won't be using both of them. We'll only need one, right? So for the first row, for the first passenger, if the value for male is 1, it means that person is male. If the value is 0, that means the person is a female. So we don't need both of these columns. So what we'll do next is we'll drop this female dummy variable column. Let's do that. So pd.getDummies, and one way to trap this dummy variable is by using the ILAC method. I'll show you how to do that. We have our train data that sex column, and then we call the ILAC method on it. ILAC, and then we want to drop the first column, right? This first column. And we'll look at this ILAC method in coming lectures. We'll have separate lectures on ILAC. Okay, so let me save this in a variable called drop dummy. So what this will do is drop the first column here. So the female column will be dropped, and we use the ILAC method. So it just means read everything starting from index 1. So this is index 0, index 1. So this will be dropped. And let's see what it looks like. So if I call the head method on our drop dummy data set, now we only have the male column. Another common thing that you see is a prefix will be added to this dummy variables to show the source of where the dummy variable came from. So in this case, our male dummy variable came from the sex column, right? So let's add a sex prefix to our male dummy variable. So pd.getDummies, and then we have our train data, and we have our sex column, and then we simply pass prefix, and then we set it as sex. That's how we can pass a prefix to our dummy variable. Then we have our ILAC, and we drop the first column as we just saw. So if I call the head method on this data, now we have sex underscore male. So instead of male, now we have the prefix. That's a common thing in creating dummy variables. Great. Let's recap. So in this lecture, we saw how we could add dummy variables by mapping and passing values, and by using the getDummies method. And we saw how we could drop a column and also add a prefix to our dummy variable. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.